Are you ready to face the most decisive spiritual moment of the year? The 9/9 Lion's Gate portal has swung wide open, and it's not just an event on the calendar. This is a divine reckoning, a cosmic filter sifting the chosen from the distracted, the ready from the restless. What if I told you that being anywhere but alone in your sacred space on this day could cost you your breakthrough? This is no ordinary portal. It is a spiritual laser, piercing through the noise, aligning only with those who guard their energy fiercely. Step into the wrong room. Share your space, even for a heartbeat, and the portal's power can slip right past you, like a wave crashing on the shore without ever touching the sand. I need you to hear this. The Lion's Gate on 9/9 isn't public. It's intensely personal. It demands your stillness, your undivided presence, your sacred solitude. No distractions, no voices, no second chances. Just you and the divine frequency that will unlock your destiny. If you're feeling the weight of this moment, type 777-inch. The comments to declare you're tuned in and ready to receive. And to everyone who's supported this channel through super thanks, you are the true warriors of this season. Thank you from the depths of my heart. Stay close, because what's coming next will change everything. Are you prepared to walk through the Lion's Gate, God's chosen ones? Why you must stay home alone on 9/9. Lion's Gate Impact Revealed. The moment the subtle vibration of another soul seeps into your own spiritual frequency, the sacred gateway before you begins to wane. Its powerful threshold, dimming like a fading star that refuses to linger. This sacred portal, the Lion's Gate 8/8, does not simply serve as a passive opening for calm or isolation. Rather, it is a meticulously timed cosmic filter designed to keep your spiritual line pure and resonant, long enough to receive an extraordinary and specific transmission meant only for those who are truly prepared. In the book of Isaiah 26:3, it says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." This perfect peace, however, is not a mere absence of noise. It is the precise frequency needed to engage with divine momentum. How many times have you felt the subtle disturbance, that prickling at your soul when the energies of others threaten to blur your focus and dilute your spiritual clarity? What if this portal's true test is not about receiving blessings, but about mastering the art of energy architecture, actively shaping the divine forces that move through the cosmos and through you? Like a master architect sculpting a cathedral's vaulted ceiling, every breath you take during this time fortifies the structural integrity of the spiritual temple within you. This is not just about sitting quietly, waiting passively. It is about standing as the unmovable center, the eye of the hurricane, balancing violent planetary currents and channeling celestial power into form. For many, the Lion's Gate portal is merely a cosmic event where blessings and downloads fall into one's life like rain. Yet, for God's chosen ones, the narrative is vastly different. Receiving is merely the inception of a complex, divine mechanism in which you are the active participant. The portal demands that you become the transmitter, the stabilizer, the living vessel through which sacred energy flows and is anchored into the earthly realm. Jesus said in John 15:5, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit." This union requires solitude and focused stillness, a sacred isolation, not out of loneliness, but to guard the integrity of the flow. The story of Saint Teresa of Avila, a mystic who knew the power of solitary prayer as a crucible for divine encounters. She taught that true spiritual breakthroughs require withdrawing from external noise to allow God's presence to form within. Similarly, the renowned physicist Nikola Tesla, a man obsessed with frequencies and resonance, once stated, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, I think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." The Lion's Gate portal is that sacred resonance, the channel where your personal spiritual frequency must remain unpolluted, lest the door close forever. In stark contrast, look at the tragic fall of Judas Iscariot, a man whose interference and misaligned frequency disrupted the divine plan, culminating in betrayal and ruin. His story, etched into the pages of history, is a cautionary tale of what happens when the sacred current is compromised by self-interest and distraction. The Bible, in Psalm 1:1, warns, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers." Judas's failure exemplifies the devastating consequence of failing to protect one's spiritual space during crucial moments. Today, you are not just breathing for yourself. Your calm breath, steady and centered, acts like a broadcast tower, sending waves of peace that ripple outward across the world, touching lives you may never see but profoundly influence. As the Apostle Paul reminds us in Ephesians 6:12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." This spiritual warfare calls for your deliberate withdrawal from distraction to guard the sanctity of your internal frequency. In closing, rise up as the beacon in the storm. Stand unwavering in your sacred space this 9/9. The cosmos is watching. Your destiny hinges on this moment of chosen solitude. Your silence will speak louder than words. The Lion's Gate is opening. Will you be the calm eye that stabilizes the storm, or will you allow external noise to shatter the portal's power forever? The call to stand alone is the call to power. Embrace it. Act now. Your quiet presence in solitude acts like a perfectly calibrated tuning fork, resonating through the vast collective consciousness with a clarity and precision that only true stillness can achieve. Just as a tuning fork, when struck, emits a pure, unwavering tone that can bring an entire orchestra into harmony, your focused energy establishes a stable frequency that aligns and uplifts those unseen fields around you. Yet, the moment you step into the chaotic buzz of crowds or noise, this sacred resonance fractures, scattering into dissonance. The energy you painstakingly cultivated disperses like light breaking through a prism, losing its unified power and coherence. Today, you are far more than a passive receiver, absorbing external energies like a sponge. You are a deliberate transmitter, a beacon set to broadcast a divine frequency. Allowing external interference is equivalent to severing the very conduit through which your destined message must travel, a message that, if disrupted, may never fully emerge from your lips into the world. How often has silence carried more power than words? What hidden strength lies in the spoken intention sealed within the sanctity of your own space? The air you breathe in your home today is not mere atmosphere. It is a sacred container, a spiritual vessel prepared to hold and amplify your spoken declarations. Each word spoken aloud within this container reverberates, echoing and multiplying as if bouncing between the walls of a cathedral, imprinting itself deeply into the fabric of your reality. Psalm 19:14 reminds us, May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight. Lord, my rock and my redeemer. This sacred echo is not accidental. It is the physics of divine vibration made manifest. Unlike writing wishes in a journal or silently harboring thoughts in the mind, vocalizing intentions unleashes a powerful ripple effect, similar to a single stone dropped into an undisturbed pond. The ripple expands outward, gaining momentum and strength, uninterrupted by competing frequencies. In a public setting, however, this delicate vibration is swallowed whole by ambient noise and distraction, much like a faint bird call lost in the roar of a storm. This phenomenon mirrors the scientific principle of resonance, where a signal can only strengthen when the surrounding environment remains free from interference, allowing energy waves to build instead of dissipate. Nature itself offers a striking parallel, rarely spoken of: the monarch butterfly's migration. These delicate creatures travel thousands of miles alone or in sparse groups, maintaining their flight path by sensing subtle magnetic frequencies of the earth. Undisturbed by the chaotic interference of larger flocks, they embody precision and solitude, demonstrating how singular focus combined with natural tuning allows extraordinary journeys to succeed. Your solitude on this day is akin to the butterfly's flight, deliberate, singular, and essential. Adding to this, a profound line from the musical Les Misérables by Claude Michel Schoenberg captures the essence of this moment. To love another person is to see the face of God. Your solitary voice today is an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the invisible web of souls connected through this portal. It is through this love and focus that the Lion's Gate portal will open fully for you. So, are you ready to let your love become the key that unlocks the Lion's Gate and transforms your destiny? The Apostle Paul's words in 1 Corinthians 14:8 perfectly align with this truth. For if the trumpet does not sound a clear call, who will get ready for battle? Your voice, clear and unshattered by outside chaos, is the divine trumpet call echoing through time. Guard your space. Protect your frequency, and allow your message to take form undiluted. Rise now. Stand firm as the unyielding tuning fork amidst the noise. The vibrations you send into your sacred container today are not fleeting. They are the blueprint of your future reality. To remain silent now is to let opportunity slip away. To speak clearly and alone is to summon destiny itself. Your time is now. Today, the ambient noise of other people's voices, the distant rumble of passing cars, and even the stray, unconscious thoughts drifting from those around you act as chaotic vibrations that dissolve your words before they can take root outside your sacred space. Your voice is merely a faint whisper swallowed by this cacophony, yet, within the sanctuary of your home, your spoken words become law, unshakable commands etched into the spiritual architecture of your existence. On this unique day marked by the Lion's Gate 8/8 portal, the boundary between your higher self and the external world narrows to a razor's edge, revealing a profound cosmic design. Have you ever sensed the strange dissonance when speaking to loved ones during pivotal moments? Conversations feel fragmented, as if everyone is speaking in divergent frequencies. Why do your words seem misunderstood, misinterpreted, or like they're cast into an alien language? This is not a flaw or failure. It is the deliberate mechanism of the portal at work. As the Apostle Paul writes in Romans 12:2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal creates a signal so pure that it cannot be polluted by the noise of external misunderstanding. The portal actively closes the gap between you and your higher self, creating an exclusive channel where only your true frequency can be heard. Imagine the spiritual connection as an advanced architectural structure like the flying buttresses of a Gothic cathedral, expertly engineered to transfer immense weight and pressure away from fragile walls. Maintaining stability amidst the storm, your mind and spirit function similarly, balancing the pressure of external noise by redirecting it away from your inner sanctum. When your link with the divine is strong, the world's distracting static fades into insignificance. The frequencies of others, their fears, biases, and limitations do not resonate with your elevated signal, and they are not meant to. If those around you misunderstand or mishear your words today, it is a clear sign that your frequency is tuned to a higher station, one yet inaccessible to them. Smile inwardly at this confirmation of your unique spiritual alignment. To illustrate, take the example of Steve Jobs, the visionary entrepreneur who revolutionized technology. Known for his unwavering commitment to innovation, Jobs famously said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." He understood the importance of maintaining the purity of his own vision, undisturbed by external noise and criticism. Like Jobs, your role today is to protect your unique voice, ensuring it remains uncompromised by the distractions of the outer world. From a psychological perspective, this moment can be likened to the flow state, a deep concentration where one's awareness of the external environment diminishes, allowing creative and purposeful energy to manifest unhindered. The Lion's Gate portal acts as a cosmic trigger, facilitating this flow by selectively filtering out incongruent frequencies. Neurologically, this is similar to how neural entrainment synchronizes brainwave frequencies, amplifying clarity and focus. The psalmist's words in Psalm 46:10 offer poignant guidance. "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is not passive. It is the active holding of space where divine transformation occurs. You are being invited to embrace this still point, the silent architectural moment between spiritual battles, where your reality's blueprint is being recalibrated. Will you allow the outer chaos to drown your inner voice? Or will you stand firm, anchored in this sacred structure of silence and clarity? The portal's power lies not in being understood by the many, but in being perfectly aligned with the One. This sacred solitude today is your crucible, your sanctuary, and your launchpad. Guard it fiercely. Speak your truth within these walls. For your voice is not merely heard, it is woven into the very fabric of your destiny. Rise now. As the unshakable architect of your spiritual domain, build your reality with intention, reinforced by divine design. The world's noise is fleeting, your frequency is eternal. This sacred moment unfolds as a private, intimate conversation between your soul and the infinite, a divine dialogue untouched by the noise of the external world. Today, understanding from others holds no power. What truly matters is the clarity you cultivate within yourself. There is no need to chase validation through human eyes or to seek approval from the crowd. Instead, pursue the rare and profound stillness that allows the portal's unfiltered light to penetrate without interference. As Psalm 46, 10 declares, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is not passive, but the active space where transformation ignites. Have you noticed how, in these crucial hours, your inner fire feels restless, almost unbearable? Some of God's chosen ones describe it as a searing heat rising within their chest, or a buzzing sensation beneath the skin that refuses to be silenced. Others become uncharacteristically short-tempered or emotionally volatile, unable to remain still, even for a moment. Could this discomfort be more than mere agitation? What if it is the solar fire itself, an ancient, sacred energy unleashed by the lion's gate, designed not to harm but to refine and purify? This fire is not random. It is the catalyst for activation, the spiritual combustion that burns through the heavy layers of old beliefs, fears, grudges, and self-doubts you have silently carried for years. Hebrews 12:29 reminds us, "For our God is a consuming fire." The portal does not simply shift energies around you, it reaches deep inside, incinerating the hidden shadows that have held you captive. This divine heat exposes the cracks in your spiritual foundation, forcing you to confront what you have long avoided. The testimony of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German pastor and theologian who stood against tyranny during World War II, imprisoned and facing death. Bonhoeffer spoke of suffering as a forge for faith. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. His ordeal reflects the transformative power of fire, not as destruction, but as purification and renewal. Similarly, your restlessness today is a sacred forging process, shaping you into a vessel fit for the extraordinary destiny ahead. Yet, opposing this divine refinement are the forces represented by Saul of Tarsus before his conversion, driven by fear, misunderstanding, and resistance. He persecuted the early church, blinded to his true purpose. His story is a stark reminder that spiritual activation, when met with denial or fear, can lead to profound inner conflict and suffering. But when embraced, it becomes the birthplace of resurrection and new life. Are you ready to allow the fire to consume what no longer serves you? Or will resistance harden your heart against the light? The natural world offers a compelling parallel: the phoenix, a mythical bird that must burn to ashes before rising anew. This archetype symbolizes the painful yet essential process of death and rebirth, mirroring the internal alchemy you are undergoing now. The solar fire you feel is your personal purgatory, the crucible from which your renewed self will emerge. Scientifically, this experience resonates with the concept of neuroplasticity, where the brain rewires itself through focused tension and release. The portal acts like a spiritual neurostimulator, igniting synaptic transformations that dissolve old mental patterns and forge new pathways aligned with your divine purpose. In the words of Mother Teresa, a beacon of compassionate strength, we are called to be witnesses of love and light, even in the darkest moments. Your current trial, though fiery and uncomfortable, is your sacred passage. The world may not understand your turmoil today, but this refining fire is forging the warrior, the prophet, the leader within you. Stand firm in your solitude. Embrace the burning as holy activation. The portal's light sees you clearly, pure, rough, and ready. Tomorrow, the world will catch up. Today, only your soul's witness matters. Rise from the ashes of old limitations and walk boldly into the destiny that awaits. The intensity pressing upon your spirit right now is not chaos, it is the divine forge, the holy crucible in which the Creator shapes his chosen vessels. In metallurgy, raw iron must pass through sustained heat so its impurities rise to the surface, where they can be removed. This is exactly what's happening within you. The spiritual temperature has been set with precision, refining you into something sharper than any two-edged sword, lighter than the burdens you've carried, and unstoppable in the mission ahead. Acecharia 13, 9 declares, I will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. But there is a warning written in the invisible. If you flee from this sacred furnace, if you drown it out with distraction, or crowd it with the static of other people's energy, the process halts. The heat dissipates before the refining is complete, and what could have been your divine weapon becomes an unfinished fragment. Have you noticed how the eagle, when molting, retreats to the highest, loneliest crag of the mountain? It strips away its worn feathers in solitude so that new ones can grow strong enough for the next flight. That is the season you're in. Your solitary height is not punishment. It's preparation. If you remain still, alone, and surrendered to the flame moving through you, it will burn away only what heaven has declared unnecessary. Like a candle protected from the wind, you will glow from the inside out, your light steady and unwavering. Psalm 66:10 reminds us, For you, O God, have tested us, you have refined us, as silver is refined. Why, then, would you run from the very fire meant to reveal your brilliance? The silence in your home today is not emptiness, it is the deep hum of God's assignment. Imagine a seed buried in winter soil. On the surface, it seems forgotten, even lifeless, yet underground. It is splitting open, surrendering to a transformation unseen by the world. The universe has locked the door behind you, in this same way not to confine you, but to shield the sacred work happening within, like the sculptor Michelangelo who, when asked how he created David, replied, I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free. Heaven is carving away all that hides your true form. And here's a truth wrapped in mystery. You didn't decide to stay home. Plans weren't cancelled. They were divinely intercepted. You have been chosen for a private operation in the courts of heaven, one that cannot unfold under the eyes of the world. Remember Isaiah 48:10. I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Your solitude is not social absence, it is spiritual consecration, as in Victor Hugo's Les Misérables, where Jean Valjean's years of hidden labor shaped him into a man capable of extraordinary mercy. So too will your hidden season shape you for a work no crowd could ever prepare you for. When the fire has finished its work, you will not emerge as you once were. You will be tempered like steel, unyielding, purposeful, and unshakable in the face of storms. Are you prepared to embrace the hidden fire that forges your unbreakable spirit? Even when no one else sees the struggle, so rise. Chosen one, do not despise the stillness. Embrace it as the final rehearsal before the curtain lifts on your divine assignment. The stage is set. The script is written in heaven's ink. And your moment is near. You have not simply stumbled into solitude. You have been sealed inside something sacred. A chamber designed in heaven's blueprints long before you could sense its walls. Even if it feels accidental, it is anything but. This Lion's Gate portal is not a doorway that hurls you toward the mountaintop in triumph, nor is it a desert that strips you bare by drought. It is an inward passage, a corridor of the soul, drawing you away from the static of the external world. Every loud distraction, every clanging voice of expectation, every signal that is not of God is being stripped from your frequency. What remains is your raw, unfiltered signal, pure resonance in the spiritual spectrum, vibrating like a tuning fork in the hands of the divine. Inside this space, Your home transforms into a capsule of unexplainable physics. As if the architecture itself has shifted from brick and timber to a living sanctuary, the air is no longer neutral. It feels ionized, charged, subtly humming with the same silent current that parted the Red Sea when Moses stretched out his hand, Exodus 14:21. Light behaves differently. Shadows lengthen or vanish without clear cause, as though they, too, are obeying a higher instruction. Your thoughts don't bounce back from the walls as they once did. Instead, they dissolve into the space, absorbed like encrypted data into the unseen operating system of heaven's design. Can you sense how every breath now feels purposeful? As though even the oxygen is part of the message. Outside, there is the constant rush of other people's desires, fears, and timelines, the psychological noise that pollutes the bandwidth of your spirit. Right now, every one of those signals is poison to the recalibration taking place inside you. In neuroscience, there is a concept known as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, but such rewiring requires focus and repetition in a controlled environment. Spiritually, the same is true. The Lion's Gate has isolated you to create perfect conditions for a divine rewiring. It is not punishment, it is insulation. Why would heaven go to such lengths to shield you unless something extraordinary was being prepared? The process underway within you is volatile, like the controlled demolition of an old cathedral, so that its foundations can be reinforced without losing its sacred design. As the French novelist Antoine de Saint-Exupéry once wrote, "A rock pile ceases to be a rock pile the moment a single man contemplates it, bearing within him the image of a cathedral. The slightest interruption could freeze the upgrade mid-process, leaving the structure unstable. You may feel waves of discomfort rippling through your chest, like the shockwave of a distant explosion that no one else hears. You may wake at hours when the world is asleep, sensing a hand on the inner dial of your being, adjusting the frequency of your soul to match heaven's channel. And when those moments hit, do you realize you are inside the holiest construction site you will ever walk through? Sometimes, without apparent reason, you might cry deep, soul-cleansing tears, as if releasing sediment that has long clouded your spiritual waters. At other times, you might laugh softly into the silence, catching glimpses of joy that seem to come from a place far older and deeper than your own memory. These are the hidden calibrations, the flipping of switches, the reprogramming of internal circuits, the activation of dormant functions you didn't know existed. As Jesus said in John 13:7, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Could it be that every tear, every sigh, and every quiet smile is heaven's code rewriting the very essence of who you are? No one around you could understand this process, even if you could explain it, and truthfully, you cannot. It is like describing the weightlessness of space to someone who has only walked on solid ground. That is why this season demands solitude. Even the most well-meaning presence could disrupt the delicate symphony of this internal reconstruction. In the words of the Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, known for creating buildings that feel alive, the architecture of a space should not only protect, but transform those who enter it. That is precisely what is happening. You have entered a space in which heaven itself is the architect, re-engineering your inner world until you emerge with a design strong enough to carry the weight of the assignment you were born for. And when the ceiling finally lifts, you will not walk out as the same person who first stepped in. You will walk out as a living sanctuary, a structure built to endure the storms and radiate the glory of the one who built you. So stand in this holy stillness. Chosen one, do not rush the construction. The final unveiling is coming, and when it does, the world will see not just what you have become, but who sent you. The intensity rising within you right now is not random. It is the sacred heat of the spiritual forge. In metallurgy, raw ore is useless until it is subjected to precise, unrelenting fire. Only then does the impurity separate from the metal, revealing its true strength. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Malachi 3:3. This moment in your life works the same way. The Lion's Gate on 9/9 is not here to make you comfortable, it is here to make you unbreakable. Yet how many chosen ones lose this transformation because they try to escape the heat too soon, just like a caterpillar in its cocoon. You cannot tear open the chamber before the wings are ready, or you will never fly. The world will tempt you to run, to fill your home with noise, to scroll endlessly, or surround yourself with people who dilute your focus. But every distraction is a thief, stealing heat from the forge before the work is finished. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. The stillness is not a void. It is the architect's blueprint phase. When heaven drafts the structure of your next chapter, would you abandon a cathedral while its foundation is still being poured? If you remain alone, still, and allow the fire to move through you, it will consume only what is unnecessary and leave you glowing from the inside out like an ember that has survived the furnace and now radiates its own warmth. In nature, the pearl is formed when the oyster, in complete darkness, endures the slow layering of nacre over irritation until beauty emerges. How much more will your soul shine when you allow God's process to cover the irritations of your past with His glory? For our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12:29. This day is not a coincidence. The silence in your home is not absence, it is an assignment. Imagine a great chess master in the middle of a tense match. He leans back, not moving a piece, while his opponent fidgets. That still moment is not weakness, it is calculation. Likewise, heaven has locked the door behind you, not to imprison you, but to sanctify the environment for a private operation. The prophet Elijah once encountered God, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. If he had been surrounded by the noise of the crowd, would he have heard it? The great composer George Friedrich Handel, while creating Messiah, isolated himself for weeks, emerging with music so moving that King George II stood during the Hallelujah chorus. History remembers his brilliance, but that brilliance was forged in solitude. What might emerge from your own hidden room if you endure the full process? Could it be that what you think is loneliness is actually the sacred rehearsal before the public unveiling? And be warned, there is also the opposite path. King Saul, chosen yet impatient, broke God's timing by offering a sacrifice that wasn't his to give. 1 Samuel 13. His reign unraveled, not because he lacked opportunity, but because he could not hold still under divine instruction. This portal, like a rare celestial alignment, will either temper you into steel or see your fire burn out in vain. Which outcome will be yours? The hour is short, and the forge is hot. Those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. Stand your ground in this holy stillness. Let the silence saturate you. Refuse to trade your refining for momentary relief. The transformation you longed for is already in motion. Now is the time to protect it. Rise now, chosen one. The world will soon see the steel in your spirit, but the shaping happens today, behind closed doors. Guard the fire, stay in the chamber, and let heaven finish what it started. This is not loneliness. It is sacred containment, an intentional sealing of your spirit inside a divine chamber. In architecture, before the crown of a cathedral is set, the scaffolding shields it from premature exposure. Likewise, heaven has wrapped you in a temporary structure so the finishing work can occur without interference. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. You are standing in the precise coordinates between the last breath of your old life and the first heartbeat of your new one. This is the bridge where eternity presses against time, and only those still enough to feel its pulse will cross unscathed. Could it be that this silence you feel is not emptiness at all, but heaven's breath holding you in place for something greater? When this day ends, when the lion's gate closes, and the spiritual frequency shifts back to its ordinary wavelength, the streets will look the same. The sun will set, as it always does, and people will carry on as if nothing monumental occurred. Yet you will know, deep within, the resonance of your soul will be altered, as though a new frequency has been tuned into your core, one that will not allow you to return to the static of yesterday. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has gone. The new is here. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You will walk into the same rooms, speak the same words, and look into the same mirror, but the reflection will no longer be familiar. Is it possible that even the way light falls on your face tomorrow will seem different because you have changed on the inside? So, let the door stay shut. In physics, a system must sometimes be isolated for an energy transformation to complete. Open the system too soon, and the reaction dissipates before full conversion. Let the light in your room bend strange, refracting like sunlight through the stained glass of a sanctuary. It is heaven coloring your vision differently. Let the stillness press in. The pressure is not punishment, but propulsion. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. Psalm 31:24. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are becoming the architecture God designed before the foundation of the world. If this stillness is shaping you, why rush to escape the very thing that's building your strength? If today you hear the voice of your shadow, the whisper of fear, doubt, or the temptation to break your solitude, it is not there to chain you, but to reveal the lock heaven has already broken. Think of the moment in a championship match when the crowd is deafening, but the player at the free throw line enters a pocket of silence, hearing only the rhythm of their own breath. That pause is where victory is forged. In quietness and trust is your strength. Isaiah 30:15. The acclaimed choreographer Pina Bausch, known for reinventing modern dance, once said, "I'm not interested in how people move, but in what moves them." She spent long hours alone in empty studios, letting silence choreograph the movement before the music was ever chosen. What moves you now in this sacred pause will dictate how you move when the stage lights return. Could it be that your next leap forward in life is waiting on the other side of this exact silence, with the lion's gate wide open? The silence in the air is different. It is not simply the absence of noise, it is the deliberate removal of distraction. The same way a master watchmaker works in a room where every vibration is controlled, ensuring that the mechanism will keep perfect time for decades to come. This is your calibration moment. Every unnecessary tick is being silenced, so the eternal beat can be heard. So rise. Chosen one, do not walk away from this chamber prematurely. The version of you about to emerge is not fragile, it is forged. Protect the process, guard the atmosphere, and when you step out, you will carry not just the memory of the stillness, but the unshakable strength it has embedded in you, and in that still, unguarded space where the noise of the world can no longer camouflage what's buried, something begins to stir. It is the shadow, the collection of unhealed parts you've avoided, denied, or simply had no space to confront. Sometimes it doesn't announce itself with a roar, but with a whisper, a passing thought that lingers longer than expected, a sudden, vivid memory from a decade ago, uninvited, yet vivid enough to pause you mid-step, a wave of irritation, sadness, or guilt rising from nowhere, disconnected from any event in the present. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Proverbs 20:5. Could these be the ripples of something heaven is drawing to the surface for healing? Before you can dismiss it, more follows like echoes bouncing off the walls of your own mind, each one bringing another fragment of your story into the light. This isn't chaos. This isn't a coincidence. The shadow waits for moments like this, rare windows when the world feels distant, and the veil between your conscious thoughts and your inner depths thins enough for truth to pass through. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Psalm 139:23. Normally, when you are surrounded by the rush of other people's energy, your shadow retreats behind the mask you wear in public. It stays silent, knowing the noise will drown out its voice. But here, in the solitude of your sanctuary, with your spiritual frequency aligned to the lion's gate, it knows. You can hear it. Why do you think God led you to this private chamber? Could it be because only here could he reveal the pieces of you that need to return home? In history, we see this pattern. The Renaissance artist Caravaggio, celebrated for his mastery of light and shadow, painted figures whose darkness made their illumination more striking. Yet in his own life, Caravaggio often wrestled with inner turmoil. It was in his solitude between commissions and conflicts that some of his most honest works emerged. Likewise, your shadow is not here to destroy you, but to add depth to the light God is cultivating in you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. But there is also the warning of the one who refused to face his shadow. King Herod, consumed by paranoia, feared the prophecy of a newborn king, Matthew 2. Instead of letting that fear reveal his insecurity and repent, he fed it, ordering the massacre of innocent children, a legacy of cruelty that echoes through time. The unacknowledged shadow, left to fester, will turn into a tyrant, ruling from the inside out. Is there a part of you God is asking to face now, so it doesn't harden into something destructive later? This is the truth most people miss. Your shadow is not the executioner of your destiny. It is the messenger delivering fragments of yourself you abandoned under the weight of survival. He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. And here, in the Lion's Gate silence, the pieces can finally be retrieved, restored, and reforged into the vessel heaven always intended you to be. It is the voice that whispers, "Here, this is yours. You left this behind." But without it, you cannot walk into what's next. Sometimes that piece is a truth you've refused to speak aloud, because saying it would make the illusion crumble. Sometimes it is a part of your identity you buried so others could feel safe around you, forgetting that God never called you to be smaller for someone else's comfort. Other times, it is the raw, unfiltered emotion you swallowed because you feared no one could hold it without breaking. You will know the truth. and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. Could it be that what you've been avoiding is actually the missing key to your freedom? The shadow doesn't just reveal what terrifies you, it exposes what you've forgotten you are. It is like the roots of a tree reaching deep into unseen soil, drawing up minerals that the branches above didn't even know existed. You cannot bear new fruit without the nutrients from those hidden places. I am the vine, you are the branches. John 15:5. When you run from the shadow today, you're not simply sidestepping discomfort, you're delaying the planting season for your next harvest. This process, often called shadow work, is the final clearing before God elevates you to the next level. Imagine a great eagle before migration. It sheds old, damaged feathers so that the wind can carry it further than before. Refuse that molting, and the journey will be cut short. Why do you think the discomfort feels so intense right now? Because the Lion's Gate portal magnifies it, compressing what might have taken months into hours. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. In the natural world, volcanoes build pressure silently for years, only to release their force in a single day, reshaping entire landscapes. This portal works the same way, pulling the unseen to the surface, reshaping the inner terrain of your soul. But the eruption can only complete if you remain in the sacred boundaries of your own space. Step into another person's atmosphere too soon, and the energy shifts. The shadow retreats like a shy animal sensing danger. It reminds me of a moment in Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, where the bells of the cathedral ring with a force that shakes the city. Yet only those inside the tower feel the true vibration in their bones. Likewise, you can only feel the full tremor of this divine work when you stay close to the source within the chamber God has assigned to you. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. If you let this window pass, the shadow will wait for the next opening, and that may not come until another year's Lion's Gate. What opportunities, what breakthroughs might be postponed simply because you stepped away too soon? The refining has already begun. Stay in the heat. Stay in the silence. The world outside can wait, but your transformation cannot. You seize this fleeting portal now, or let fear delay the destiny that's already unfolding within you. Rise and guard this moment. Chosen one. The chapter you've been praying for is already writing itself inside. You don't put down the pen before heaven finishes the sentence. By the time the sun sets on this day, any weight you could have released now will have settled deeper into your soul, denser, heavier, harder to dislodge. That's why when you feel that unfamiliar voice rising within, when unexpected thoughts weave themselves into your mind, or when emotions arrive without a clear source, you cannot afford to push them back into the shadows. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Could it be that the discomfort you're feeling right now is not a sign of weakness, but the signal that the healer's hands are already at work? This is the day to let those echoes lose their power for good. Solitude is not a cage. It is a stage set with divine precision, where your shadow steps forward to deliver the lines that will liberate you. In the theater of your spirit, God is the playwright, and the scene unfolding is one that will not be repeated. Today, the Lion's Gate does not merely illuminate the earth with its celestial light. It focuses like a surgical laser on your inner architecture, dismantling every counterfeit pillar you've leaned on for identity. Every plant that my Heavenly Father has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. Matthew 15:13. In structural engineering, before a tower can reach higher, any unstable beams must be removed or reinforced. Otherwise, the entire edifice is compromised. Your ego is much the same. It is a latticework of roles, masks, and old agreements, each connected by invisible wires to your past. One cable may bind you to the expectations your family etched into your psyche. Another might tie you to the labels society pressed upon you. Another still could tether you to wounds you thought time had erased. Have you ever wondered how many of these connections were never meant to be part of your design? I'm reminded of the legendary conductor Herbert von Karajan, who once said that the pauses between the notes are as important as the notes themselves. In his rehearsals, he would hold entire orchestras in suspended silence, forcing them to feel the resonance of what had just been played before moving to the next measure. Right now, your life is in that pause, the stillness between the old chord and the new one, where the resonance of your true self is reverberating through the halls of your soul. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This is not a gentle suggestion. It is an ego lockdown protocol initiated by heaven itself. Think of it like a high-voltage breaker being tripped to prevent a dangerous overload once the current stops. The faulty circuits can be replaced. The Lion's Gate portal is not here to negotiate with the false self. It's here to dismantle it, wire by wire, until only the authentic structure remains. And once the false connections are gone, your spiritual frequency will ring clear, like a cathedral bell, finally free of cracks. If you surrender to this process, the Lion's Gate will not just remove what's false, it will recalibrate your soul to heaven's blueprint. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in Him, and He helps me. Psalm 28:7. The roles you played to survive will give way to the identity you were born to carry. The labels will fall away, and what remains will be unshakable. But if you resist, those wires will tangle tighter, and the same lesson will wait for you at the next gate, heavier than before. So, will you surrender now and align with the divine design? Or cling to old patterns that only bind you tighter? Chosen one, this is your still point before the rise. Don't fight the architect's hands. Let the demolition happen so the true structure can finally stand. Another wire connects to the way you perform at work, every polished smile and calculated phrase designed to prove you belong. Another runs to the insecurities you camouflage in social settings, the ones you pray no one notices. Today, the Lion's Gate is sending a direct, unbroken signal to overload those faulty circuits, burning away the false programming so your soul can finally take the lead. You were taught to put off your old self and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Ephesians 4:22-24. But here's the danger. If you step into the energy field of other people, your wires tangle with theirs. The current meant to dismantle your false self will arc into their circuits. It won't stay pure. It will bounce back and forth between frequencies, scrambling, blending, and bleeding into fields that were never yours to carry. Have you ever wondered why you leave certain conversations more exhausted than before? Sometimes it's because your inner work has been contaminated by someone else's unresolved battles. Instead of a clean reset, you get an interference pattern, jagged, chaotic, like static disrupting a radio broadcast. The ego doesn't die in that noise. It mutates. Worse still, it adapts with their wounds layered on top of yours. Suddenly, you are wrestling with fears that never belonged to you, fighting shadows that were never chasing you. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. This is why today is not just me time. It is mission-critical isolation. History shows us that some of the greatest breakthroughs happen in seclusion. Thomas Edison, before perfecting the light bulb, spent months in near-complete solitude, testing thousands of filaments in silence until one worked. He protected the purity of the process from outside interference, and the result changed the world. Could the thing you're carrying be just as transformative if you protect it long enough to let it ignite? But the reverse is also true. The biblical figure King Rehoboam, who inherited the throne of Israel, instead of seeking God's counsel, he absorbed the reckless advice of his peers. The result, a divided kingdom, civil unrest, and the loss of unity that took generations to repair. 1 Kings 12. His downfall was not a lack of power, it was allowing the wrong voices to mix into the signal God had given him. What signal might you be losing today if you let others into this sacred recalibration? So stay in your own field. Keep the wires clean. Let the lion's gate complete the dismantling of every mask, every counterfeit role, every borrowed fear. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. This isn't withdrawal, it's strategic defense. And when the reset is complete, your soul will not just run the show, it will shine like a light, unshadowed by anyone else's darkness. Chosen one. Today is not a luxury, it's a line in the sand. Stand firm in the solitude heaven assigned to you, and let no other frequency rewrite what God is perfecting. This is protection for the most delicate spiritual surgery you will undergo all year. In Solitude, the signal strikes you directly pure, undiluted, untouched by the static of other voices. No distortion, no contamination, no competing frequency. It is the precise scalpel of heaven's hand, stripping away the debris you've carried, layer by layer, until the original design beneath is revealed. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. Could it be that the discomfort you feel right now is not the wound but the stitching that's closing it? In the quiet, you might feel it as a deep, unmoving stillness, or as a sudden jolt of discomfort when you realize just how much of your life has been a performance. Like a chameleon that has matched the colors of its surroundings for so long, it forgot its own skin. You begin to see where you've blended into expectations instead of standing in truth. Today is not about being liked, it is about being real. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. The Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. When the ego resets in quiet, something rare happens. Your inner voice becomes louder than the outside world. The part of you that has never cared for image or approval takes its first full breath in years. You start to separate the thoughts that were truly yours from the ones borrowed, perhaps unconsciously, from culture, family, or fear. It is like a forest after a wildfire. What looked destroyed is actually clearing space for new, healthy growth. Have you noticed how liberating it feels to not have to be someone for anybody else? But the moment you step outside too soon, you risk picking the mask back up before you even realize it. A single conversation, a casual glance, even the inflection in someone's tone of voice can reattach an old wire you worked so hard to remove. It's the same way frost can return overnight if the soil is exposed too early in spring. The new life beneath is tender and easily damaged. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. It reminds me of a scene in the Italian opera Tosca by Giacomo Puccini, where a quiet prayer in a dimly lit church precedes the chaos of the final act. That stillness is not weakness, it's the gathering of strength before the storm breaks. In the same way, your solitude Today is the prelude to your boldest chapter yet. The protocol is clear. Stay in the bubble until the work is done. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Psalm 37:7. So, hold your ground. Chosen one. Protect the stillness as if it were the seed of your next season, because it is. And when you finally step out, it will not be as the person who entered, but as the one heaven has been crafting in secret. If you honor this divine lockdown, you will step out tomorrow, carrying less weight than you've held in years, light, unburdened, and aligned. Ignore it, and you will exit with someone else's burdens stacked on top of your own. This is not punishment. This is preservation. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Today's ego reset, the one the Lion's Gate is offering, is not something that happens often. It's like the once-in-a-decade restoration of a sacred cathedral, when the scaffolding is finally removed to reveal the full beauty of what's been hidden. Miss this, and you might find yourself rebuilding from scratch later. If you let this moment land clean without the interference of other people's noise, you may never have to fight this hard again to strip away the old, constricting identities. Right now, your energy is not operating at its usual baseline. It's spiking far above normal resonance. The 88 Lion's Gate has amplified your spiritual field like a tuning fork struck against heaven's own hand. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60:1. Can you feel how your presence is vibrating differently? Almost as if the atmosphere bends to make space for you. You are not simply moving through space, you have become a signal tower. In physics, a resonant antenna doesn't discriminate between the signals it receives. It draws them in based on frequency alone. You are radiating an invisible current that calls out to the world, I have what you're looking for. At first, that sounds beautiful. You imagine blessings, opportunities, the right people flowing toward you, and yes, some will. But here's the catch. The magnetic field does not filter. It pulls without prejudice. What if in the same wave of attraction, you're also pulling in things heaven never assigned to you? It's like the quiet break in a championship game when the team huddles not to celebrate, but to recalibrate. In that moment, the coach filters the noise, clarifies the plan, and protects the team from being swayed by the crowd. Step out too soon, and you're playing with an open channel, inviting not just teammates into the huddle, but opponents who would love to read your strategy. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. In the realm of creativity, this principle holds true. The celebrated fashion designer Alexander McQueen once admitted that his most groundbreaking designs came from seasons of intentional isolation when no outside trends could dilute his vision. His solitude acted as a shield, ensuring the final creation was pure, uncorrupted by the noise of the industry. Could it be that heaven is doing the same for you right now, shielding your soul until the masterpiece is ready? This is why today is not for social scattering. It is a sacred containment protocol. Your spiritual architecture is being tuned, your identity re-anchored, your field recalibrated. The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Psalm 138:8. Stay within the walls until the work is done. And when you finally emerge, you won't just attract, you'll attract what's meant for you. Chosen one. Hold your position. The signal tower is live. But until heaven finishes installing the filter, keep the channel closed. Your clarity tomorrow will be worth the restraint today. And in a magnetic surge like this, everything responds. Yes. You will draw in fresh inspiration. New ideas will seem to land in your mind like lightning, but you will also become a beacon for those whose own light has flickered out. You'll attract souls who don't know how to stand on their own feet. People are hungry for your fire because their own flame has gone cold. These aren't always obvious at first glance. Some will appear as friends, admirers, even helpers. But beneath the surface, they may be energy parasites, manipulators, or narcissists, individuals whose intentions are wrapped in the velvet of charm but soaked in the poison of self-interest. By their fruit you will recognize them. Matthew 7:16. And those are just the ones you can see. There is another layer, one most people never discuss openly. When your spiritual field is this wide open, your visibility increases not only in the natural realm, but also in the spiritual. Drifters, attachments, and wandering entities are drawn toward warmth like moths to a flame. Some may be harmless, merely curious. Others are far more disruptive, solving confusion, draining focus, or subtly bending your thoughts toward despair. Have you ever left a place feeling inexplicably heavy, as if a shadow had followed you home? Imagine this. Today, your energy field is like a massive, glowing net lowered into the depths of a vast ocean. It catches treasures, yes, the gold, the pearls, the rare shells, but it also hauls up tangled debris from the dark, seaweed, rusted chains, and deep-water creatures that were never meant to be on your deck. Step into a crowded place now, and you're not just meeting people, you're merging fields, knitting your net to theirs. By the end of the day, you might be carrying their emotional weight, spiritual residue, and even their unspoken battles, without ever realizing it. Do not give the devil a foothold. Ephesians 4:27. History gives us striking parallels. The painter Vincent van Gogh, in a letter to his brother, once warned about the toll of taking in the storms of others. He understood that an artist or any soul deeply tuned to life could absorb another person's chaos until it distorted their own vision. The same is true for you today. In this amplified state, you are porous, and everything seeks to pass through. Could this be why heaven has called you to stand apart, just for this window of time? And we must not ignore the warning of those who underestimated this truth. In the book of Acts, the sons of Sceva tried to wield spiritual authority without alignment to God's covering. They approached a demonic force, speaking words they had heard Paul use, but without the spiritual foundation to carry them. The result? They were overpowered, shamed, and left exposed. Acts 19:13-16. When you step into environments charged with conflicting energies while your field is wide open, you risk the same, being overrun by forces you are not positioned to withstand. Above all, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. This is not fear, it is strategy. Today is not the day to be everywhere. It is the day to fortify the gates of your soul, to remain in the sanctuary heaven has assigned. Protect your fire, guard your frequency, and let the net you carry bring up only what God has sent. Chosen one. The treasure is already coming to you. Don't sink your ship by letting the wrong catch stay on board. This is why being home today is not about hiding, it is about shielding. Your home is not just a roof and walls, it becomes a consecrated container, a living filter, a sanctuary where your magnetism only reaches what heaven has assigned to you. In this space, the blessings can still come. They will find you through a sudden flash of thought, through a quiet whisper in prayer, through synchronicities so subtle they feel like fingerprints of God. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Could it be that the closed door today is not keeping the world out, but keeping your destiny pure within this safe chamber? The vultures cannot circle your head. In nature, a blooming fruit tree draws both pollinators and pests. The fragrance is the same. But the intention of the visitor is different. Your light today is a feast. But not everyone who wants to eat deserves a plate. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. Matthew 7:6. And here lies the deeper danger. Whatever you pull in today doesn't just pass through on a portal day like Ocho. The bonds form quickly, sometimes in hours, and can lock into your spiritual circuitry for weeks, months, even years. If you allow something unaligned to cling to your energy in this window, it will not simply fade, it will take root. Pulling it out later will be like extracting deep-set thorns from living wood, painful, slow, and leaving scars. That is why today, every breath, every thought, every spiritual interaction must be intentional. Have you ever noticed how a drop of dye spreads instantly in still water, but takes much longer to disperse in a rushing stream? Your stillness today makes every connection far more potent. For better or worse, staying home is not a missed opportunity. It is the deliberate act of ensuring that when the portal closes, you carry away more blessings than burdens. Magnetism without boundaries is an open invitation for anything to enter. But magnetism in solitude contained, guarded, is power in its purest form. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. When you do this right, tomorrow will not feel normal, and that is the proof it worked. In fact, it may feel unsettling in its stillness, like standing in the eye of a storm after months of wind and rain. Some of you will wake up with an odd emotional numbness, as though your feelings have been turned to low volume, not because something is wrong, but because the static, the emotional interference that's been buzzing in your field for months, maybe even years, has finally gone silent. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. It reminds me of a scene in the French play Polyeucte by Pierre Corneille, where the hero emerges from trial into a profound calm, not the calm of defeat, but the silence after a decisive victory. That absence of noise feels strange at first because it's rare. Could it be that the strange quiet you feel tomorrow is the sound of heaven handing you back your clarity? Chosen one. Guard your sanctuary today. Let the portal do its work without interference. And tomorrow you will wake not just lighter, but truly free. We've grown so accustomed to carrying invisible weight that when it suddenly lifts, the lightness can feel almost alien, like walking after years of wading through deep water. Unsure if your legs will remember how to move freely. Some will awaken to a peace so profound, it feels unnatural, as though time itself is holding its breath. Others will encounter a quiet so still, so pristine, that it almost startles them into searching for what's missing. And you'd be right, something is missing. Perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:18. The fears that gripped your chest, the doubts that poisoned your choices, the mental static that kept you circling the same questions gone. Could it be that this is the silence your spirit has been craving all along? The portal's work is not always a sky-wide eruption of light and sound. More often, it's the almost imperceptible shift of a frequency locking into perfect resonance. In physics, This is the moment when vibrations align so precisely that the noise collapses, and all that remains is pure tone. That's why tomorrow might feel too quiet, because the interference is gone. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. John 14:27. The absence of noise is not emptiness. It is the sound of heaven's order taking root in your soul. For some, that stillness will feel like something has left you overnight, and perhaps it has, but it was the part of you that was never truly yours to begin with. Old timelines, expired attachments, identities you've outgrown will no longer respond when you call. It's like an architect finally removing the scaffolding from a great cathedral. The beams that once supported your rise now stand in the way of the finished design. Have you considered that what you're mourning might actually be the prison walls you mistook for home? In moments like this, I think of Sviatoslav Richter, the legendary pianist who could hold an audience frozen in the space between his final note and the applause. That pause was not empty, it was charged, vibrating with the memory of what had just been created. The Lion's Gate leaves you in a similar suspension, not void, but potential, not absence, but the womb of your next chapter. The former things have passed away. Behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 21:4-5. Tomorrow's emptiness is not a loss, it is sacred space. Just as a field must lie fallow before the planting, your soul must breathe in this openness before it can bear the weight of new assignments. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. Isaiah 43:18. If you rush to fill the silence with noise, you will trample the seeds heaven just planted. But if you protect it, water it with gratitude, and let the roots go deep unseen, the harvest will astonish even you. So when the morning comes and you feel the strangeness, the quiet, the calm, the weightlessness, don't run from it. Don't assume something is wrong. That is the sound of chains hitting the floor. That is the feeling of walls falling away. That is the first inhale of a soul no longer strangled by what never belonged to it. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Are you ready to stand still and let heaven break every chain holding you back? Chosen one. Honor this stillness. What was left was never yours. What remains is the raw, unshakable foundation heaven has been building all along, and now it's finally yours to stand on. And now, chosen one, if you've walked with me through every word, you already know today was never just a date on a calendar. It was an appointment with heaven. The Lion's Gate has done its work, and your spirit now carries a clarity the world cannot take from you. This is the stillness you were meant to protect, the lightness you were meant to feel, and the foundation you were born to stand on, because in the silence of this day, heaven has exchanged something in you: chains for keys, ashes for beauty, weight for wings. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. What left you today was not loss, it was clearance. The space that feels empty right now is not a void, but the blueprint of your next chapter. One day soon, you'll look back and realize this was the moment the shift happened, not in noise or spectacle, but in the quiet work only God could do in the hidden room of your soul. If this word has spoken into your spirit, I invite you to let it echo further like this video, so more chosen ones can find it. Share it with those who need a reminder that solitude can be holy ground. Leave your thoughts or testimony in the comments. Your voice may be the answer to someone else's prayer. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss when a word from heaven is released in season. To every single one of you, Whether you've supported through super thanks or simply by showing up here today, thank you from the depths of my heart. You are part of this mission, this calling, this community. Until we meet again, may your steps be guided, may your spirit be guarded, and may your light grow so strong that darkness cannot come near it. God bless you, abundantly and beyond measure.